how I made the decision to move to the continent and how you too can make the same decision to move back to the continent. Trust me, it will be the best decision you've ever made. Okay, so I discussed in part one, what we went through and how we came to the decision as to where we wanted to lay down roots. And so I gave you all, some of the primary reasons why we chose the Gambia. So next, I'm going to move into how did we do it? Excuse me, a little intergestion, excuse me. So how did we actually go from America to the continent? Okay, so again, if you watched my other videos, you will see that I was in the leads in America, and things were how I made the decision that listen, I'm just going. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get out of here. There were a culmination of things. If you're in America, you know that we have been severely oppressed and mistreated and abused, disrespected, just constantly, since our inception there. And, under this wicked and oppressive system in America, KKK. So I was just, my soul, like I was getting so sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so I said, I am tired of complaining about it. It is time for me to be about it. What are you going to do? It is apparent that I can't live a life of peace and sovereignty in this country. I can't. It is apparent that, my soul is vexed, and there was just a great imbalance there. I mean, it was so traumatic living in America, KKK. It was so traumatic, all the trauma, just at every end. You can't even barbecue. You can't sell water. You can't, stand outside of stores. You can't walk into your own home or apartment building. Just at every turn, these people just would not leave us alone, shooting us down in the streets like we are dogs, without any remorse and without any recourse. There's no justice whatsoever. And so I had to ask myself, am I insane? Because I keep living in this place and expecting something different, and it keeps showing me that it's not going to give me anything different. So what am I going to do to free myself from this place? I just was so tired, you guys, of being sick and tired. And so I decided to do something about it because I could. And I said, since I can't have peace here, and since you don't want me here, I am going to leave because I don't have to be here. I have a whole beautiful continent that is rich and wealthy and vast that I can go to, and I can have my peace, and I can have my sovereignty. I can live well, and I can be amongst my people, and I can contribute to its economy and to the rebuilding of this beautiful continent of ours. And so I said, that's it. So how did I get to a point of actually, putting into action, moving from America to the continent, to Akepulon? I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I am in no way insane. So it was time for me to stop talking about it and be about it. And so that is what I did. So I just made a conscious decision within myself, and I did a lot of meditating, a lot of meditating. And it was confirmed in my spirit that I needed to return home. It was confirmed. And all of these things, all, the things that were happening to my people in America, KKK, it was to push me, to that very point where I, decided to leave. And so that's what I did. And that's how I made the decision. And of course, I was in a lease there, and I just said, I don't give a damn. I'm going to go to this office. I'm going to tell these people that I have to break this lease. There's nothing they can do about it. Like, I have to break the lease. And that's what has to happen. And fortunately, there was a clause in my lease that said that I could do so. That I could. But I didn't need their permission, whether there was a clause or not. I was leaving. I had already made up my mind and confirmed in my spirit that that's what I was going to do, and there was no turning back. So I did. So that was step one. And then I had to think about, well, how are you going to support yourself? So you really do have to build up this business. Now, I already own an online clothing store, Ivry Royalty, so I had already launched that. And so I started to start other small businesses. And so right now, my second business, my coffee business, and then I have another business venture that I am looking into now. And so I just kicked it into high gear, and I said, I was never happy, I've been working, you guys, since I was 14, literally, and full time. So in the nation's capital, Washington, D.C., they have something called the Summer Youth Program, started by our mayor for life, Mayor Marion Barry. And so they allowed the youth, he developed a program that allowed the teenage youth, starting at age 14 and up, to work during the summer, work a full-time job and actually get, a paycheck. And so I took advantage of that program. And so I started working that summer job at 14. When the summer concluded, I was turning 15 that fall. And so I wanted to continue working and making my own money. I enjoyed it very much. Just, that feeling of independence and not having to ask my mother for money to get, little personal things or things that I wanted. And so I asked my mother if she would allow me to go and get a work permit so that I could continue to work after school. And she said yes. And so the only stipulation was that I kept my grades up. And so I kept my end of the bargain. And I started to work after school. And I was working full time. So, a lot of overtime. So just working full time and, worked all the way up and, till this point. So literally I've been working since I was 14. And I have seen a lot and just so much racism and so much discrimination towards, Black people, in the work environment, especially in corporate America, but even in the private sector as well. I've worked in like probably every type of environment because most of my work was contract work. So I've contracted for the feds, I've contracted for local governments, I've contracted for nonprofits. I have done it all and have seen it all. And so I know that I have made a lot of corporations and organizations and various businesses a lot of money with my knowledge and skills and talent. And I said, well, why not invest that into my own business. If I can do it for someone else's business, I can surely do it for myself. And so I had made up in my mind that that is what I was going to do, and I was going to put my all into building my business, and so that I can, you know, generate income to lift up my people and to build up this beautiful continent of ours. And that is my motivation, and that is another primary reason why I decided to repatriate back to this beautiful continent. Definitely to give, definitely to give. Um, so yeah, so I had made up in my mind, and I said, okay, I need to just go full speed ahead with these businesses and really put my all into them. And that is what I have been doing, and things have been going great. You definitely need to come here with a business mindset, because there is no government assistance here for you like it is in American KKK. But you know, they want your blood. And you know, they want your blood, they want your sweat, they want your tears, they want your soul, okay, for that little bit of money they give you there. And so definitely want to come here, you know, with a business mindset. And maybe you know, can collaborate, you know, with someone else who has already been successful here on the continent. That's also another option. So networking is really, you know, good. Um, so yes, so I took care of the, you know, the income, and you know, how I was going to, you know, support myself and my son. And so the next thing, you know, of course, just not not talking to family for their permission, but just of informing our family as to, you know, what the plan was. And my mom, my mom, of course, you know, she was sad and she cried. But she understood that it was something that, you know, we had to do. Of course, she had her reservations. You know, my mom has never been on the continent, so you know, she had her reservations. I'll just say that. But we had been here, and we knew that we were making the right decision. And so, you know, we just discussed it with our family, and just really shared it. You know, with my family, my sisters, and of course, you know, they supported, and you know, they you know, expressed that of course that they would miss us tremendously, but that, you know, they absolutely supported us. And so, you know, discussed it with the family and shared it with them. And then we just began to make plans. And that's, you know, packing up everything in the apartment. And that was like made everything like so surreal. Like as the time, because before that, we set a date. We set a date. So I set a date, you know, as to, you know, when we were going to depart. And I said, I have to stick to this date. I had made a point to stick to that date. That only like a major emergency, I mean, somebody real sick or something could change it. So I set the date, and I stuck to, you know, the timeline. So as the date was approaching, we started to pack up things, and you know, it was getting real, and I was like, oh my goodness, like we're really packing up. Like, and there's a video of that. I shared a video of us, you know, packing and deciding what to keep and what to throw away, and what to donate. So we did that, and the place was like becoming more and more empty, and it was just like, okay, this is getting real. We've already put in a notice to vacate. I've given away, donated, like we were just left with the things that we were going to take with us. And so that was the other thing. Once we, you know, packed up, and you know what, I didn't have an issue with letting go. There were a few things that were sentimental to me, and a couple of things that I knew that I probably wouldn't be able to get on the continent that I needed, that I decided to take with me. But other than that, just really had no attachments to anything. Just I threw away a lot, gave away a lot. Um, so yeah, just packing and deciding, uh, how to pack up our things, how big of a suitcase we need to buy, because we had to consider the weight, and that was also something that's very important. Just make sure that whatever airline that you use, make sure that you read, what the requirements are, as it relates to luggage and baggage. And so we read, from the airline that we chose, we read what the weight requirements were for our carry-on, and for our check-in, and we were staying within that weight limit. And so my son and I, okay, so the bag that I purchased, I'm laughing because it was hilarious. This is hilarious to me. I purchased our luggage off of Amazon, and so it was really difficult for me to determine, how big the bag was, and so I didn't see the measurements. And so I ordered my son's luggage and I ordered my luggage. And when his bag came, you guys, it was so big. It was big. I think I showed you guys in one of the videos when we were at the airport. I was like, oh my goodness, this bag is huge. So I am prior military, so of course, I rolled our clothes. We did the rolling method and put everything, neatly and tightly rolled, in the bag. And so to make sure that we did not go over the weight limit, we had to lug all of our luggage to a local FedEx store. So here we are with these huge bags, okay, lugging them, okay, all the way to the FedEx store. And we had to park like underground and then like come from underground and like walk all the way around. I mean, these bags were heavy, okay, all the way to the FedEx store. And people were looking because Josiah's bag was so big. So we took them to the FedEx store and they weighed them for us. And so we got an idea, as to, how much we needed to take out. And so we did that. And then we got to, it was time for us to go and to get on the plane. And so we got to the airport and we got there so early, guys. I mean, we were like 5 hours, 6 hours like early, and it was in the wee hours of the morning. So we took advantage of, we saw someone else putting their luggage on the, excuse me guys, like on the luggage scale, in the airport. And so we were like, okay, let's do ours, so that we weren't caught off guard. And so we can make sure, like, do we need to take more things out? So we did that, and we realized that we did need to take some things out and kind of reorganize some things. So we did that. So yeah. So the advice that I have, for you all who want to repatriate is, don't second guess yourself. Do not allow anyone, family, anyone, to hinder you or discourage you from following your dreams, from accomplishing your goals. Because I will tell you, they will try, because they don't have the courage to do what you are deciding to do. Although they want to, they just don't have the courage to leave. So do not listen to the naysayers. Do not block them out, because they could, if you're not strong-minded, they can cause some serious doubt, and so much so that you will decide that, hey, maybe I shouldn't move, and you'll start to doubt yourself. So don't do that. And so that was something, like I said, once I made up my mind and it was confirmed in my spirit after doing some meditation, there was no turning back. I didn't listen to anybody. I did not. So you have to be deliberate. You have to be strong-minded. You have to be sure. And that surety does not come from you consulting and getting the permission of other people. It comes from within. So that is the most important piece of advice that I can give you, is to trust yourself. Trust yourself. You know what's good for you. You know what you want. You know what you need to do. So do it, beloved. Just do it. Don't allow people to hinder you. Don't allow them to cheat you out of your freedom, out of your sovereignty, out of your peace, out of your inheritance. So, I would encourage you to, we didn't visit a lot of African countries. Again, like I said, we had just stepped on the continent, August to September of 2019. My spirit was already moving me to repatriate back to the continent. Again, this is something, like I said, I've been wanting to do for a very long time, but like just heavily contemplating it for the last couple of years. And so I had been pregnant with this for a very long time, and it was time for me to deliver. And, I did it, and it was the best decision. The best decision. I had an issue. I was having a lot of ailments and pains while I was in America. Just before I came here, I was not able to move something was happening I had gotten a shoulder injury, and I had torn something in my shoulder, and so I was doing self-rehab, and so I had that, and then one morning I woke up and then my left arm was just hurting me so bad, and there was a lot of inflammation in my left arm. So here I am with this shoulder injury, and then I have my left arm, and I was in a lot of pain. You guys, I'm telling you, I didn't realize it until probably by the end of the first week. It just dawned on me that there was no pain. I was totally out of pain, and I am you guys, the pain was gone. In my left arm, totally gone. I couldn't even lift anything, and it was gone. My shoulder just totally, I couldn't even do this. And now, I'm able to do this, no problem, able to cross over. I couldn't even do any of that. This place heals you. There's a healing energy here. I feel so much better, a lot more energy. Just eating these good organic fruits and veggies. It's just so beautiful, just the peace. You guys, living in America where all you're doing is working to pay bills, just working to pay bills. So you buy the food and you buy the clothes and, whatever it is you're needing, and you get the gas or, the transportation, however you get to work. And then, by the time you turn around, you're like, where in the world did all my money go? Oh, and let's not forget either the mortgage payment or the rent. And before you know it, here it is, time for you to pay that mortgage again. or that death note, as I call it, mortgage, you know, and or it's time for you to pay that rent again. And so you have rent, and then, you know, the utilities, just everything. There's just so many bills. Like by the time you get that check, like there's just several people with their hands out. And then you're like, I worked this hard for this? For this? Okay? So it's like, you know, constantly having that big chunk. I know Mia residing in the nation's capital, you know, whenever I came back home to the nation's capital to live, it just seems like the cost of living just continue to just like skyrocket. And especially, you know, with the gentrification, crazy. I mean, what I paid was crazier. And if you've ever been to the nation's capital, you know, I lived by the zoo, okay, which is a very affluent area. And so it was crazy. But since we've come here, just being able to, you know, when you're renting something and it's a few hundred a month and it's a whole compound, okay? A whole compound, you know, and it's a few hundred a month. And so you know, you pay 6 months, you know, 3 months, 6 months, a year in advance. What you would pay in 1 month, for an entire year or a half of a year. Do you know how much peace? The peace of knowing everything is paid. In America, you're always like, oh, a couple of more weeks, I have to pay that rent again, or a couple more weeks, that mortgage payment, you know, is going to be due again. Oh, you know, and I got the utilities. You know, my son went to, well, I homeschooled him, but I had to pay for a private curriculum, you know, so you're like, you've got that, you've got just so many bills, and it's stressful. Here, you pay it up front. That roof over your head is taken care of. Do you know how much peace that brings? I have not known such peace. You know, and you guys, just doing it by myself, oh, it has been a journey in itself. It has been a journey in itself, and I have come such a long way. And no one will compromise my peace. I won't allow it. I will not allow it. No one will take this peace away from me. No one will drive me out of my homeland again. So, make up in your mind and your heart and your spirit that this is what you want to do. And you just put forth action into doing it. Just start doing it. You've made up in your mind. Then there you are. You've already created what you wanted, that life that you wanted, where you wanted to be at. Now put forth that energy, that action into doing it. And it shall be done. And it shall be done. Do not doubt yourself. You too can have this peace. You too deserve this peace. All right, you guys. So that's how I decided to repatriate back, and what I did, you know, to get my son and I back home to this beautiful continent of ours. If you have any additional questions, please put them in the comments below. If you like what you see and hear, let me know. I want to hear about it. I want to see it. I want to see your feedback. If you have any questions that I have not answered, ask them below. And so until next time, you guys, be good.